What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Funded and Closed podcast. I'm super excited today, to be honest with you, because today is our first episode, our very, very first episode. I'm going to be transparent with y'all. I did do this 2 years, maybe 3 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago, I did this series, right?
Okay.
And I rented out this Airbnb and I rented out the equipment. I got the video guy, and we pretty much rented out an Airbnb for a week and we did 10 episodes. Episodes took off. Some episodes at 30, 40,000 views. Like,
wow.
For me, I had 500. I had matter of fact, I had 100 subscribers on YouTube. So it started going crazy. The problem when you don't have ownership, you had to ask for permission. Mm-hmm. So I'm big on ownership. So I was never able to go ahead and keep it going because I had to ask for this, borrow this and this and that. Okay. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do this again. But when I do it again, I'm going to make sure I have ownership. So now we're in a building that I own. All the equipment that I own, everything is I own. Is even Funded and Closed, the trademark, I own. Everything, LLC, every single thing on here, I own.
Come on, trademark.
So exactly. So everything is legit. So now I can just get up and hit the cameras on. As long as my guy's available, we can go ahead and get started. So now you guys are about to embark on the journey with me of, our road to get into, and I'm gonna put this out there, our road to get into 100,000 subscribers and then going to 1 million subscribers and growing from there. But Today is our very first episode. And before we introduce our special guest, I want to give you guys the breakdown on why I actually started this podcast. So first and foremost, my name is Derek Boone. I'm a real estate investor in Philadelphia. And also we help people get into real estate in several different strategies, even if you don't have a whole lot of money or a whole lot of credit, so everybody can create wealth and create cash flow. But the reason why I created this podcast, because me personally, I'm big on listening to podcasts, like the bigger podcast, the one thing. And I see a common denominator every single time. Hey, I got started. We have 100 units. We have 1,000 units. We have millions and millions of dollars in our business. I started out because I was working at this engineer job. And then I took my retirement account and bought real estate with that. Or, hey, my husband was this big time guy. He went ahead and did this. Or, hey, my business partner was this big time person. Or, hey, I just used my 401k. It's always I'm not trying to downplay it because it's still amazing at the same time, but it was like they start out with millions of dollars right out the gate.
Yeah.
Like this one lady I was listening to, she had $3 million in her 401k or something like that. And she used that and she bought a whole bunch of units right out the gate. Mm. So I'm talking to the individuals that may not have, for me, my job before this was a retirement home and before that was McDonald's. Mm-hmm. I didn't have no corporate job or no big time resume. So my very last job was making $10 an hour. So I'm speaking to people that may not have a whole bunch of resources because those podcasts sound great and they're amazing and they are amazing. But it's sometimes you have a disconnect when you can't relate.
Yeah.
So when you hear someone say, I just put $1 million on my retirement account, it's like, all right, let me turn this off because it's clearly don't hit for me. So I want to bring on dope people that do dope stuff, but they may not have started out with a $10 million sitting already, or they might not have the best job already, or they might not. You have an amazing degree. I want to get into that. But some people may not even have a degree like me. For sure. They kicked me out of school. So it's like...
Why did they kick you out of school?
Not for nothing crazy. It was because my academics so bad. And they said, it's just not...
It's not for you.
Yeah, they like, yo, you're not really... I went to Penn State and they was like, yo, your academics aren't really fitting with our program. So you got to go. The bad part is they back-billed me for the last 2 semesters because they was like, yo...
That's crazy.
You wasted our time, so you got to pay us back. It was crazy. But yeah, that's why I started the Funded and Closed podcast, so people can hear dope things from dope people, but in a way where it started where everybody can go ahead and do it, because I believe every single person can make $1 million or even $1 billion where they are now. They just have to. Everybody knows they want to go from A to B.
Yeah.
The problem is nobody knows how to get there. So this podcast is supposed to be a GPS for individuals, so they know how to get to B, and they can go and create their own wealth and stuff like that. So that's the whole background with Funded and Closed. And I'm excited today because I got you on the podcast. So for y'all that don't know, resume is long as the Nile River. Dr. Rashae Barnes, serial entrepreneur, marketing specialist, PR specialist, business owner, doctor. Like, you're literally the only person I know on the planet Earth that has a doctorate degree.
I'm cracking up.
No, seriously. Like, I know people that are doctors, but I don't know them. Like, they just,
yeah.
So I think that's dope. And I don't think anybody on here can really say, like, I know more than 2 people that have that. Honestly, probably nobody here can say they own 1. So I'm honored to have you on here.
I'm honored to be here.
And
I'm excited.
Also, too, you helped me out a lot. Like, sure. I done told you that bio you wrote for me.
Oh my God.
I sent it out to a couple people. Yo, she's so good at what she does. She wrote a bio for me. The freaking bio was so good that people wanted to like figure out who typed this for you. It was like, yo, this bio
not
about
AI.
Yeah,
okay,
she like hand typed it. This we'll get into that. So but and then also too, we're gonna get into, deeper. What I decided to do in this podcast, make it a little different from, the average business podcast. We actually gonna have a nice little drink.
Yes, we got a little cocktail. Yeah, we got
toast to the episode. She's drinking tequila, Douce XO.
And Derek made this drink. I don't know. He's a real estate investor. He might be a bartender as well. I don't know, you guys. It's kind of good.
Do a little everything. But so here's the catch. We're gonna be full transparent on this episode, right?
Okay.
The goal for this
is really good, you guys.
The goal for this is we're gonna go ahead and break down businesses, how people can get started, how you can make money, and how you can do different things. By the time you finish that, it should kick in. I want to hear about all the crazy stuff you've done with your money.
Okay.
So we're going from funded and close it to what you say, funded and what?
Funded and faded.
Funded and faded. I want to hear about all the fun stuff because I don't want to just talk about how we made a lot of money. We've done some goofy stuff behind the scenes.
Very goofy.
There's nothing wrong with that when you actually have the businesses paying for the goofy stuff.
Absolutely.
So we not only drinking responsibly, we spending responsibly.
For sure.
So, what's up? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. And I think when we talk about funded and closed, so just a little background about myself. I'm a publicist, so I do PR and branding for major companies and corporations. I'm also an investor. I do so many different things, so that's why I really just consider myself a serial entrepreneur, a philanthropist. Like, philanthropy is something that's really, really big to me besides the entrepreneur aspect. I feel like once you make it to a certain point in your career, it is your duty to give back. Like, that is something that's important to me as well. So philanthropy is something that I thrive myself when I live by that. But it's kind of funny how I got into the public relations space. I was a classroom teacher for 10 years in Richmond City Public Schools in Virginia. So I went to Virginia State. I got my bachelor's degree in English, and my master's degree is in public relations and media management. So my master's is in public relations, and was a classroom teacher for 10 years, an assistant principal for 2. But even while I was in the classroom, I was still doing public relations work outside. So like, I would teach all throughout the week, but then on the weekend, I might be at a BET event or at the BET Awards. And my students just loved that. My students were like, oh, Miss Barnes, where are you at this
What grade
week?
was this?
So I taught middle school English. Okay. So I taught 6th through 8th grade in a comprehensive school. And then I was in an alternative program for like 6 years. Okay. So all middle school though.
Okay.
And my students were like, oh, Miss Barnes, we see you at the BET Awards. So I was the cool teacher. I was always the cool teacher though. But I was the cool teacher for multiple reasons. One, because I built a rapport with my students. And that's what whether it's in real estate, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's whatever occupation you're in, people do not work for or with people they don't like. Mm-hmm. You have to build a relationship with people. I'm really big on relationships. Relationships will get you so much further than $1 will get you, right? Mm-hmm. So just building a relationship with my students. So I did that. But it came to the point after I got my doctorate, it was like, okay, well, what's next? And it was one of those situations where I was kind of like peekaboo and like, okay, like the classroom is like, it's comfortable for me, but I'm making money on the outside. But until you are fully ready to be uncomfortable, you're not going to be able to grow. Nothing grows in a comfort zone. So you have to really be able to be uncomfortable. And a lot of people say they're ready to be uncomfortable, but what does that look like? Because you get up every day, you go to the same job that you don't like, you're interacting with people that you don't like, and you're not happy. You're not happy with what you're doing. So until you become uncomfortable, you're not going to be able to be comfortable. So at the time I was pregnant, I moved back home to be closer to family and things like that. So it's going on 5 years that I've been, just a sole entrepreneur by myself, income, figuring it out. Right. Congrats. But before that, like I said, it was, you're going to get paid every 2 weeks. You got your 401k, you got your whatever. But I think you just have to be uncomfortable to be able to grow. So me piggybacking, getting into the PR space, I was always like a dot connector. Okay. Like I was always the girl who kind of knew a lot of people, but I was doing it at the beginning for free. Like, oh, Rashae, can you connect me with such and such? And I'm like, yeah, I'll connect you. But then I had to think
good
about
person.
it. Yeah, but then I'm like, well, I'm connecting you with these brands and then they're paying you. Well, what am I doing? Like, what's up with that? So then my cousin Rip played professional basketball for 17 years in the NBA. And I was around a lot of people at a young age.
Rip
Hamilton?
Like Pistons Rip?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite players.
Oh, yeah. What's up, cuz? Out there. So because of that, I was around a lot of different things at a young age, right? But then I started working with Trina, and I became her VP of marketing for her label in Miami, Rockstar Music Group. And I started doing that. B2K was like one of the first groups that I worked with when I was in college. I worked at the radio. I was like the editor-in-chief of the yearbook when I was in college. I was always like this overachiever, like always had like an overachiever spirit because I didn't want to like ask people for anything. Like I always, wanted to have my own. Even when I was in college, I was a serial entrepreneur. Like my friends would tell you, I'm 18, 19 years old. It's homecoming and everybody's on the yard having fun. I had a cupcake business in college called Candy Cupcakes where I was selling like $200 and $300 cakes while I was in college. I was 18 years old, 19 years old. And on a yard during homecoming, like during the weekend for 2 days, Friday and Saturday, while the vendors were out there, vending and things like that, I would make like $5,000, $6,000 in 2 days at 19 years old. And I was cool with that.
Great money.
Yeah, I'm living in a dorm.
That's
I'm okay.
Great money.
So I think it's all about your mentality as well. So I've always kind of been like the dot connector, but now I'm just doing what I've been doing, just on a larger scale.
So I like that. I got a couple questions. First question, who the hell has $300-$400 for cake in college?
People do. Them refund checks.
Oh, yeah. See,
when
I never had a refund check.
When them refund checks hit, and it's so crazy. It's like, damn, when we was 18 and 19 years old, we didn't think like, oh, you about to get a $3,500 credit on your account, a $4,000 credit on your account. Imagine what you could do with that now. I wish I knew now, like what? But yeah, so refund. But then people were working, but I feel like with anything, if it's something that you want, you're going to find a way to pay for it.
That's a fact. So my next question is, for people that's is watching, what is PR? Because like a lot of people here, I'm gonna call my PR person my PR. But what the hell is that? Like, what is PR?
So if you hear somebody refer, and I say this all the time, if you hear somebody refer to themselves as a PR, like that's a red flag automatically. Because you, Derek, cannot be a PR. You can be a publicist that renders public relations services, but PR is a service that is rendered by a publicist. So public relations is the narrative that we're controlling an image for a person or a brand, whether it's through product placement, which is like products, whether it's through media, which is television, whether it's print, whether it's radio, whether it's through partnerships with major brands. But public relations is basically controlling the media or controlling the image of a person or thing through the media. That's
manipulation.
Not even necessarily manipulation. Just if you have a brand, helping scale your brand. So if you have like a hair brand and, right now you've only been able to do well in your local niche, then you will hire a publicist to help get your brand out on a national level, help put you with, some distributors that can get your brand out on a bigger scheme. So just doing what you're doing, but just elevating it. So I think that's one of the things where when someone is seeking to hire a publicist, a lot of times people ask themselves, am I ready for a publicist? And I feel like if you have to ask yourself if you're ready for a publicist, then you're not.
So how do you know? Okay, that's a good point. So how do you know? All right, let me change the question. At what point, from the outside looking in, from you being a professional, at what point should someone actually hire a publicist?
When they can no longer like work in their niche by themselves. So like I just gave you like an example. So like if you have a lip gloss company and Lily's lip gloss is selling 1,000 units a day, right?
Right.
And Lily lip gloss is in Philadelphia, but no one in Kansas, no one in Oklahoma, no one in New York knows about this lip gloss line. But I know that the product is good. Mm-hmm. I would hire a publicist to pitch me to say, hey, now the headline is Philadelphia-based lip gloss company sells 1,000 units a day, right? Now that's my pitch. I'm sending that pitch out to major networks. So now, Fox News or Atlanta Good Day or the Source or the Vibe or the beauty magazine, Beauty Con or whoever. Now they're interested in sitting down with Lily Lip Gloss and doing some larger scale things with her. So it's just really about being able to no longer control the narrative for your brand, because that's not your profession. That's when you know that you're ready for a publicist. And I think with anything, based off your niche, when you're hiring a publicist, make sure you're hiring someone that is a publicist in your particular field, because you have publicists who focus on sports. You have publicists who focus on entertainment. Some focus on beauty. So you don't want to hire a publicist that's a beauty publicist, but you're trying to create a cannabis line.
That's their lane.
Yeah. You want to make sure you're hiring people in your lane and kind of go from there. I think that's important.
So obviously publicists get paid. Do they get paid directly from the client, or they get paid a percentage from whatever move gets generated from?
So that is depending on you and your client and however your contract is negotiated. Like, so for me, for most of my clients, we just do a retainer. So you'll pay a set fee every month. And then on top of your retainer, anything that I get you, I get 10% of that deal. Anything that I personally land. If I land you a deal with Nike for X amount of dollars,
$10 million
I'm going to
contract.
get 10% of that deal. Yeah. So, you just have to think about things like that on a larger scale. And I think a lot of times now, public relations is kind of like, because social media and because you have all these public relations professionals, it's getting away from what PR is, because PR is just controlling your narrative.
The narrative.
You have publicists out here who are like acting as like managers, like booking and getting brand deals and things like that. And all of that stuff is okay, but that's not what a publicist does. So I think people have to understand the difference between marketing and public relations, because public relations is earned media, where marketing is where you put dollars behind what you're doing.
Okay. So, okay.
Now you do, and you do have public relations. Sometimes you do have media where you will pay to play. So you might see on the Shade Room or Spiritual World or On Site where I can automatically read a headline and I know that was paid media.
Paid for.
I can tell that it was paid.
$5,000, whatever for the post.
Whatever. But that's okay. And I also can see a headline and know that that was organic press.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between public relations and marketing. People don't understand the difference between public relations and marketing. Marketing is when you're putting marketing dollars, or you're paying somebody to do marketing for you. That's strictly revenue. Your goal is to market something to generate revenue. Public relations is more for publicity, to get something out there.
Okay, so this opened up a couple questions for me, right? Because I don't know nothing about PR, so this is new. I ask you questions, and I asked her to be a PR for me. She said I'm not famous enough yet, so
this guy, we're not gonna do this.
She said I'm not famous enough yet, so I understand. I'm not ready for that.
Oh,
but
God, it's crazy.
So quick, so is PR with PR? I got a couple questions. So would PR kind of go side by side, being like an agent? If I'm getting you big contracts.
So most publicists work with agents. They'll work with agents. So you might work with say if I have a client who's a professional athlete, right? My job is to control their narrative, which is called crisis communication, right? Okay. So if I have a client who plays for the Ravens and he was pulled over for having a DUI, my job as his publicist is to control the narrative about their story that they're putting out there, right? So that would be my job. That's considered crisis communication. So we will work on that. But if he does have an agent, sometimes those agencies, whether it's a Clutch Sports or a CAA Sports or whatever those agencies are, they might have a no-compete clause where if this client is signed directly to them, no one else is allowed to bring them deals. Because they know if I'm pitching you for Gatorade and you pitching you for Gatorade, if I land the deal, they know that they don't get paid.
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying? Okay. So a lot of times,
you gotta start fighting a little bit, or competing, or however you. Well,
yeah, because it's a lot at stake. So a lot of times, agents don't like to, and that's why I said technically that's not a job of a publicist, but people do that. So for me, my company, we do public relations, we do event execution, we do branding, we do product placement, we do strategic partnerships.
I come to you and
we can do a little bit of everything, not just on the public relations spectrum. But so even when we talk about being funded and closed, you might have a real estate tycoon who closed on 100-unit property. in a low socioeconomic neighborhood, right? So now what do you want to do? You want people to know that that building is there.
Right.
So now you hire a publicist to bring the news, to bring the media, to put you on a magazine cover,
and get some funding,
to get some
grants,
all of that. So that's what you would hire a publicist to do in that space for something like that.
That's smart. So it's not even, I want to get a publicist to blow my personal brand up. I just want to bring attention to this site, this development, this community, things like that. Yeah. That's, you know, I know this guy, right? And I guess he's a PR. Is a PR? Is that
he's a publicist.
He's a publicist. And I had this event, you know, I do, pop-up events every quarter. And one day I decided to do, give gas, pay for everybody gas. I paid for like 100 people gas. So just popped up at the gas station, pay for everybody gas. It was random. And I called him like, yo, I bumped into him after the day after, and he was like, yo, we could have had the news there. We could have had this there. And I'm just like, so the thing is with me, I just do stuff. Yeah. And also I do stuff from the kindness. Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying when people bring news and stuff, they not doing out of kindness, but me, I'm not thinking about that. I'm gonna just do stuff and things happen. If the right person is there, so I happen to be at the gas station, it turns into something. God will make the rest
always
work. But he was like, yo, we could have had the news there. We could have turned this into something. The whole parking lot was shut down. There was a line around the gas. He's like, yo, this really could have been something. So he was telling me, he said, you need a press release.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is a press release? This, I buy houses and fix up houses. All this other stuff, I don't know. And he's just like, yo, we got a press release. He said, send me your press release. I'm like, what is that? He sent me a screenshot of one. I'm like, bro, it's like an essay. Like,
oh my God.
I'm like, I ain't got time to do it. He said, yo, you really need to take your time and put together a press release so I can send it out to the news or send it out to such and such, whatever he was going to do.
He was going to do like a media hit so people could come.
Yeah. Layman terms, what he was saying. No, I'm saying layman terms, like, what was he?
Oh, you're asking me. So he's basically saying with a press release is basically like a mass text that would have.
He didn't say it like that.
Okay, so
he made that shit sound confusing.
So a press release is Fashion Nova mass text to let people know what is going on. Derek is giving away 100 free gas cards at this Sunoco at this time at this boom boom boom. Do you want to have a crew come and cover it? Boom. They'll confirm yay or nay.
Okay. He didn't say it like that. Now, but I do need to have that whole essay written out. I do need that.
Yes, you can look it out.
Now, that's one of the things where I can hire somebody like type something?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
You need a press release?
Yeah, I need a press release.
For what?
I need it. I don't know.
You don't even know yet.
I'm going to find something. I'm going to figure something out. All right, so then my next question is, so that's what PR, that's the whole that. My next question is, I want to ask you personally, right? Do people come to you to hire you, or you target them and try to find them?
It's so funny. So at the beginning, I was reaching out to people that I wanted to work with.
Okay.
This is a podcast where we're very transparent. Yeah, so it's not going to be, it's not one of those situations where we're going to get on here and we're going to act like no. At the beginning of my career, like anybody,
we didn't have a lot of money at one, and we got my
So I was reaching out to people that I wanted to work with, and it would be so crazy. I remember reaching out to people, and they would leave me on scene. They wouldn't reply. These are the same people now that want to work with me.
Hey.
But it's so crazy because I just recently said this because a magazine reached out to me yesterday about doing something with them, and for anybody out there that's working in their craft or in their niche or whatever you're doing. I say this all the time. Just work until the seeking becomes sought after.
Ooh, say that again.
Keep working until the seeking becomes the sought after.
Yeah, we gonna borrow that. That was hot.
Because I really feel like in this season, I remember reaching out to certain people or certain things, and when those tables turn, now those same people are reaching out to me to work with me, and now I'm not even available. You know what I mean? I have so many different projects and different things that I'm working on. I'm very intentional now. At the beginning, I was intentional, but now it's like I was just trying to build my brand. Yeah. Now that people know me in my space, and I'm a professional in my space, and I'm very, very, very like, well, I'm very humble, but I like, in my space, I do very well, right?
You're the best.
So it's one of those situations where
I'm the best.
I'm pretty good.
You gotta talk your shit. I'm the best.
Well, but it's one of those things where it's like with public relations. Not trying to be funny, but like I kind of got lazy with it because it was like something that I was just good at. So it was like, okay, I send a press release out, or
That's
I
the
do
gift
this.
and the curse.
That's the gift and the curse. Because if I really wanted to be super duper hero publicist, I could.
Yeah.
But because I'm doing that and I'm in the pivot space right now, working on other things, we'll talk about that when it comes to like the houses and you know, some other project that I'm working on and my women's fund and the philanthropy part. You know, PR is a big piece of my brand, but it's not the only piece of my brand.
Right.
For the longest, it was the only piece of my brand. But now I'm elevating and I'm doing things on a different level. So now I'm able to use public relations to leverage myself to do other things.
So I got a question. You're PR specialist. You are who you are, and I'm me. And you pitched to me about, you know, hiring a publicist and, you know, working with your company. I want you to lie. This is what would you say? Hey, I can just post on social media and I can get those type of contacts.
Wait, hold on. Run this back. What?
So I'm thinking now, like, because you're telling me, you just give an example how someone's selling lip gloss 1,000 units a day, and I'm trying to get over into other cities. Like, instantly, I'm thinking about not me personally, but someone that's cheap might be like, yo, I can just post, and maybe people in Kansas will see me, maybe people in LA will see me, because that's what a lot of people
okay,
cheap.
so
They're like,
so
I'm
let me
just
stop
post. Why do I
here.
need you?
If the information was readily accessible to you, it would be free, right?
There we go.
Okay, so I want to say this for anybody out there: you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself, and investing in yourself might not always be a course. Investing in yourself might not always be a class, but invest in yourself. Find out what lane you want to be in, and find out who is the best in that space. Reach out to them, and just allow yourself to be a student in that space. That is what an investment looks like. You have to be willing to serve before you can become a server. You have to be willing to learn before you can go out and teach people. I see it so far on social media where everybody's putting the cart before the horse. Everybody wants to, okay, I bought 2 houses. Now I'm a real estate guru. No. And it's okay that you're not a guru in that space. It's okay to still be learning, right? So I think that's the biggest thing is if it was that important, everyone would have access to it. You have to invest in yourself. You have to pay for things. If that was the case, then that's why college would be free. Certain things. And I'm not saying school is for everyone, but I'm just trying to make the point that if it's something that you want and it's something that you want to learn, you have to invest in it.
That's a fact. But also too, and I want to piggyback off what you said, because what people don't understand, they're going to pay for it regardless.
Regardless.
You are going to pay for it regardless. Say, for example, right, you're charging someone, I'm just throwing out a number, $2,000 a month. I'm just throwing out a number, right? I don't know how much PR costs. Let's say it's $2,000 out. Yeah, $5,000. I don't know. Let's just use $5,000 a month. Let's use that for example. And someone's like, I don't want to pay the $5K. I can just post on social media and people will find me that way. I don't need you to control the narrative. I can control my own narrative by posting certain things, certain angles of me, and get my own stuff out there. And you're looking for a big contract, $1 million contract, $100,000 contract. What people don't understand is that $5K you're going to pay regardless. You're either going to pay it now to you and you're going to get me access to a $100,000 contract, or I'm going to pay $5,000 every single month in the time I'm wasting to get to that point. You're either going to spend it, you spending $5K and get it in 30 days, 60 days, however long you guys can do it, or you're going to spend a $5K a month over the next year or two trying to figure it out on your own. And that's the thing people don't understand. You're going to pay for it in time, or you're going to pay for it in money.
So that's where I want to piggyback off for you. Being around in certain spaces where people who look like me or people who don't look like me, but people who are very, very, very wealthy. And I'm not saying rich. I'm in rooms where people are very wealthy. I mean, I had the opportunity to attend an event in New York where it was 20 women, all C-suite women. If you don't know what a C-suite is, that's some research for y'all to do. But I was the only Black woman in the room. I was the brokest in the room. I was the youngest in the room. And I was the only Black girl in the room. 20 women. And the lady who was speaking, her name was Dina DiLorenzo. And she was the president of Guggenheim Investments and their asset management firm. And her portfolio, her company controls like $300 billion of assets.
Wow.
So imagine controlling $300 billion of somebody's assets, right?
Wow.
So we're having these conversations, and I tell people all the time, if you become a server and find a mentor in the space that you want to be in, sometimes you don't have to do all the extra stuff. Just being in the right room will literally take you to the next level, right? But you have to be able to be a student first. Everybody wants to be a teacher before they can be a student. And I think that's the con of social media today, where everything is like this popcorn genre. Everybody thinks it happens overnight. I was a classroom teacher for 10 years. I've been in the public relations space I've been in the media space. I'm 34 years old. I've been in the media space for almost 15 years, right? And I'm just now, almost 15 years, and I'm just now reaching certain milestones and getting in certain rooms. And that's because of how I am as a woman and how I carry myself. Now, if I was one of those people that wanted to hit a lick and wanted to we could have been hit some of these milestones a long time ago, but I believe in longevity. I'm not doing things for the now, I'm doing things for long term. And I think that's another thing too with social media. Everybody's living for the now. Yeah. Everything is quick. It's quick money. It's quick attention. It's quick notoriety. It's quick this. Everything you do, you post on social media. Every time you make a couple dollars, you post how much money you make. Every time you buy a car, you got to post it with a bow. Like, it's just like, sometimes seek the validation from yourself, and then just be able to live. Like, a lot of times people do things and they're not necessarily for themselves.
That's a fact. I believe in a couple things I do on a daily, but two things out of the couple is make money for today and make money for tomorrow. The problem with social media and people today is they want everything fast. Nobody plays the long game. Yeah. I love the long game because it really builds up something solid. Yeah. So for example, some individuals I meet, let's say me and you, we knew each other for, I don't know, maybe a year now or a couple months now. Mm-hmm. When we first connect, we first build, I just like, yo, how can I help you? What can you do? That's how we just connected. Literally just building to now, almost a year later, we sitting together doing a podcast. You wrote out my whole bio for me. You
got me working for free.
Basically, it's the long game. Y'all got to understand this. So, and then you actually helped me with, the roots thing, which I sent you the video. Like, I got like 100,000 views on that one video for me explaining. So like, you helped me out so much, but it just started out me just like, yo, what do you need? Or organic. How can I help you? Organic. But people fell to like, yo, listen, I need her to help me out like today. Like today, like, and you don't allow things to build. It's certain, even in real estate, some big deals I've done in real estate came from, like, for example, me and my partner, we own 2 big buildings together. Each building is worth $900,000 a piece. We're actually under contract to close on the 3rd building. These we're about to close in October. Whatever it is. No. We're about to close in October something. Okay. Those deals took some of them took some time. Yeah. One of them we were in court for a year to actually we were in court with the seller for a year.
I'm gonna talk about that next. About court.
So played along, like this stuff takes time, but now we're gonna have basically $3 million on one block. Imagine 5 years from now. Some things take time to build, and a lot of people don't play the long game.
And imagine building those buildings, putting the money into it, and then 3 years from now, the equity that you'll be able
That's what I'm saying.
to pull out from that. That's a whole nother conversation.
I'm going to give you something else. The one building we got for $63,000. The second building we got for $125,000. The third building we under contract, we under contract for $140,000.
Crazy.
They each need $300,000 of renovation. So think of the gap right there. But some things take time. Like, just to double back what I said, I believe in making money today, whether that's $100 a day, $1,000, $10,000, whatever that number is for you, and believe in making money long term. So what I mean by long term is like, let me get on the phone and put together this relationship that I know maybe benefit me a year from now. Let me go ahead and talk to this homeowner. They might not sell today, but this follow-up may help them want to sell 2 months from now, 6 months from now. Let me go ahead and do something. Let me go ahead and like whatever it is that can help you make some money long term. And the problem is people always focus on the first move, which is making money today, that they always end on the hamster wheel. I'm always going to be ahead of people, and you always going to be ahead of people, because we don't only work on today's move, we work on tomorrow's move. So why you, like, I can go ahead, you know what, next week I'm going to chill this week. And they're like, why? Because I put the seed together 6 months ago, and now it's coming to fruition now, where it's literally taking out 6 months of your work in this week. And it's like, yo, man, I can't get ahead. This dude, like, what's happened? It's just, you ever see somebody and it's like all of a sudden in 6 months, it's like they got a new big move coming off every single month because they worked on it maybe 6 years ago.
And that's something I want to point out. the harvest that you're reaping now is from the
Mhm.
work that you put in 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
a year ago. So the things that I'm benefiting from now are things that I worked on a year ago, a year and a half ago. Too often I see somebody start making some money today, and then tomorrow they want to spend their money. They want to fuck their money up, right? You making $50,000 a month. You ain't never touched that amount of money.
Nope.
Now
Nope.
you want to go on trips. You want to do this. You want to do that.
Mhm.
Instead, you need to reinvest your money so that way in the next 6 to 12 months, you'll be comfortable if you have things set up the right way. It's so crazy. We talked about, you said you were in court for the longest. So I have 4 different, and that's something that also am looking to get in is more, we're on funded and closed. So we do have to talk about some type of real estate aspects on here. But for me, I have four properties that I own.
There you go.
And one of the properties that I purchased last year at a tax auction, it's so crazy. It took forever. So the property there was something called the right of redemption. So if you guys aren't familiar with the right of redemption, it just basically lets the owner know that they had their property was closed on and they have a certain time frame to try to get the property back. So in Pennsylvania, I purchased the property. The right of redemption period was like 8 months for this particular property. So I purchased the property September of last year. I got the deed for the house in March. Literally after I got my deed, like 2 weeks later, I get a phone call. Hello, dude. I'm like, who is this? The previous owner called me wanting to buy the house back because they claimed they didn't know that the house was being sold.
Of course they didn't.
Of course you didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm actually in court right now for that property. I actually go to court in August, the end of this month, for that property, but I'm not worried about it. Get you a good lawyer, put your lawyer on retainer, and figure it out, because the stuff is in black and white. I went to a tax sale. I purchased the property. I followed due process. You had 8 months to purchase the property back for me. You didn't. There was notices in your mail. It was noted, in the newspaper. It was in the magazine. You got all these notices that the house was going up for sale, and it was a tax property, which means the property has been sitting vacant for 2 years. So it wasn't like it was a property that you were living in. No one was living there. I literally started putting up framing and everything in this property. So it was like it was vacant. So what happened was you purchased the property, you let it sit, and then we got it. We got it for sale. So that's another thing too. Real estate can be kind of tricky when you get in those things. But it's one of those things where everybody wants things like quickly. It's a process. It's been over a year in the house. I still haven't been able to really put any work or do anything to the property because I'm in court for that. So you just have to kind of keep that in mind as well.
Also, to accountability, for that person, you knew you wasn't paying them taxes. Let's not act dumb. That's accountability. Look, listen, I know I ain't paid the taxes, but look, I'm trying to fix this.
Yeah, I want my house
back. I didn't know, you get half the battle is accountability. Like when you go and walk in rooms and you play dumb. So for example, I got this situation where basically the mortgage company is trying to force to sell the house. I own this property. I bought it. The mortgage payment is like $300 and some thousand, but the house is worth $600. I paid the taxes on the house, but I was short like 90. This is the craziest shit. I can't make this stuff up. Taxes, I swear on everything. I'll speed it up. I'll speed it up, yeah.
Come on. All right. This sounds like something I need a fucking drink for.
I paid the taxes. So some banks don't escrow the tax. Your monthly mortgage payment, PITI, principal, interest, tax, and insurance.
Tell them what it is, child.
Some mortgage companies, some of them, very few, will say you're responsible for your own taxes. And if you don't pay them taxes, it's avoiding a contract, and they can accelerate the mortgage and make everything due.
Okay.
Listen to this. I paid the tax. Tax was $2,000. I paid $1,911. For whatever reason, I don't know how this happened. The tax bill was $1,911, but it really was like $1,990 or whatever. So basically, listen to this shit. Going into New Year, I had a balance of $91. They found out and they trying to accelerate the mortgage. I go ahead and pay it instantly. I found out. I go ahead and pay it and everything, X, Y, and Z. I'm in court. I was literally in court today, earlier today. And I'm in front of the judge. I'm in front of the other lawyer, right? And come to find out, and this is how crazy it was. I went to court to go ahead and because the auction, it was next week. And I went to court to go ahead and just get some paperwork. And I found out they had a hearing today. I didn't even know about it. Whatever. It was nothing but God. They said run upstairs and the hearing is actually going on right now. I run upstairs.
The hearing is going on for your property?
For my property. So for my property. So
what?
This is the crazy part. This is the crazy part. It's a long story, but I went upstairs to go ahead and handle X, Y, and Z. And the judge, this is what the judge says. The judge tells the credit union and the lawyer, what are we doing here? And they said, we don't want to deny his motion to stop the sale. And the judge is like, he paid the money. What, like, y'all being unreasonable? Like, what's going?
Y'all being assholes for no reason.
That's what she said. She said straight up. She said, what's going? Y'all ridiculous. And then she said, and he's just like, no, we have right to go ahead and file this motion, to move forward with the sale. No. But she said he paid the money.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like, what's the issue?
Yeah.
She literally said that. But I'm saying all to say is I held myself accountable. I said, yo, listen, I missed it. I was short $90. I paid it as soon as I found out. How can we fix this? I'm not trying to sit here and have a pity party. I made a mistake. It's a $90 mistake, but I made a mistake. But also, too, for individuals watching this, make sure that you handle whatever's in your contract, whether it's a purchase contract or a contract on loan documents, because sometimes they're waiting for that one day. You may be one day late, to go ahead and accelerate things or avoid the contract. Now, I was talking with somebody and it was like, yo, this is what they do all the time.
And always have an attorney.
Always have your attorney.
Always have your attorney review your documents, because even with the sale that I'm going through, like, it's so many different like litigation terms and different things that I'm not familiar with that my attorney can look over and be like, oh, like even with funding and close at the beginning, I want you to talk about that real quick. When we first did the intro for the podcast, we talked about how you own the trademark for funding and close. And I think that's a lot of things. Like a lot of times when people start promoting businesses and things, they prematurely promote things. I tell people all the time, as a publicist, and just someone who does branding, make sure before you start promoting any idea or whatever business you have, that is it in black and white. Because if it's not in black and white, it is not yours. If you got TT's hair parlor and I like the name and I go look it up and it is available, I could purchase it, I could trademark it. And another thing about trademarking is people don't understand that when you trademark something, you can trademark things in multiple categories. So just because I own the trademark for TT's hair care in one category doesn't mean it's not available in another category. So that's another thing that people don't understand. There's different classes when you're trademarking something, but also just do your diligence and make sure before you promote it, if it's something that you're going to trademark, that you have the trademark at least pending before you start promoting it, because the trademark process can take anywhere from 9 to 12 months. So you want to make sure and then know the difference between a trademark, a copyright. If you're starting a business, a LLC, a sole prop, if you're going to DBA, are you the registered agent? Am I the registered agent? How often you should be paying your taxes? Like all of those different things are important when you are starting a business and you're creating a business. And that's where we come in with my women's fund, right? So besides all these other things that I do, you guys, I have a women's fund.
I was just about to say I want to transition in that. Yeah,
I have a women's fund. It's called Evals Equity, and our slogan is where opposition meets opportunity. And
go ahead. Cheers to that.
Oh my God, this guy. Okay,
I like that.
So crazy. Okay, let's take. Before I spill it on myself again, I might need a refill. Okay.
A refill. Sheesh.
Refill. Remember that song? Can I get it? Okay. So, Evals Equity. Al Varner. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So boom. So. Evals Equity, where opposition meets opportunity. And as a Black woman, I just felt like, as a Black woman, these are facts. These are not things that I'm just saying. You can Google this. We are the most sought after entrepreneur class. We are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, but we are the least funded. We're the least funded. We're the most sought after. We're the most creative. We're the least funded. And as a Black woman, when I started to do my research on these things, in 2023, out of like the $200 billion of venture capital that was delegated to business, less than 1% of that was to Black entrepreneurs. And like 0.5 of that was like to female entrepreneurs and Black female entrepreneurs. So when you start looking at these numbers and you look at the amount of capital that's available, it's out there, we're just not getting it. So then we start looking at statistics and it's like, well, why? And it's just so many different stereotypes and disparities and so many different parameters that are created to keep us from sustaining wealth. Like they're created specifically to keep people that look like you and me out of these circles, right? So when I created Eval's Equity, that was my sole purpose. And on top of Eval's Equity, last year, 2023, I created a national holiday. Mm-hmm. So September 30th is actually National Black Funding Day.
That's dope.
And National Black Funding Day is just literally a day that highlights the inequalities and disparities that Black and brown entrepreneurs face trying to access capital for their businesses. So as of now, with some of the partnerships that we've done in 2024, we've been able to fund like over 40 Black female businesses this year. But a lot of people don't know that Eval's Equity, where opposition meets opportunity, Eval's backwards spells slave. A lot of people don't know that. That's how I came up with the name of the Women's Fund. Eval's backwards spells slave, because as a slave, you were always faced with opposition and you never had any opportunity.
This is deep. This is deep. I like that. This is deep.
So that's how the name itself came about. So I can't really say a lot on camera. We still waiting for some ink to dry, but we got a lot of, major partnerships coming up, and I'm working on some big things that's going to roll out. I'm excited. But
I think that's dope.
I think the biggest thing for me is that one of my clients did a live show like 3 weeks ago, Pretty B, and she did her first live show, and I presented her with a plaque. And on the plaque, it was a scripture. I think it was like Peter chapter 10. I don't know. I don't remember the exact verse, but the quote itself was talking about using your gift to serve others. Mm-hmm. And that is so important to me. When I know that with Eval's National Black Funding Day, all the stuff that I have coming up next year, and the things that I'm working on for the remainder of the year, I know that these ideas are not mine alone. I know that God has given me these ideas. Like, I'm the vessel that God is using to carry these ideas out. It's my idea, but they're not for me, right? Mm-hmm. I'm using them to serve other people. Right. So I'm excited about that. But you guys can check out Eval's Equity on social media and just Google us. And we got some other stuff that we're working on. How you spell Eval? Just want EVALS and Equity, EQUITY. And just Google Eval's Equity, and you can find me on Instagram as well, Ms. Media, and all my stuff is like linked in my bio. MZ, right? MZ Media _Queen on Instagram, all platforms, or you could just Google. You could Google me. That was a light flex. So, one, I want to give you a shout out for that. I think that's amazing. This is an actual fact. We talking facts. This is an actual fact. 63% of people don't get started in business because of lack of funding. Mm-hmm. So what you're doing is helping that 63% get access, because as we know, business and investing is what's going to get you from here to here. Literally. Like, we can work a job and get from here to here, but to get you to that next level. I had this conversation. Well, it was kind of like a dialogue I was having on a Zoom, and I asked the room, I said, how many people on the Zoom call has been making the same amount of money in about a $10,000 range for the last 5 years? Everybody said, yeah. You making 30,000, you might have got a raise up to 35, maybe up to 40. You make 60,000, you might got a raise up to 70. You make 100, you may got a raise up to 110. Mm-hmm. Everybody said yes. I said, when is the last somebody worked at a job and they doubled their money? They went from 50 to 100. They went from 100 to 200. That job literally just said, we're going to double your salary. Everybody said no. It's never going to happen, because that's not what a job was created to do.
Exactly. So you have to get access into business, which while we are here, the businesses and investments to fill that gap. I'm not telling anybody quit their job, but you have to invest. You have to get into some type of investment, whether that's a business or like a passive investment, stocks, or, whatever it is that you want to do to fill in that gap. And one of the biggest things I took away from, like I told you, I listen to a lot of podcasts. The guy was saying, I love being an art teacher, but being an art teacher got hard because I couldn't pay my bills. So I couldn't focus on being an art teacher. I couldn't stay after school to help the kids. I couldn't work extra days because I had to work another job that was going to help pay my bills. So he said he started investing in real estate, and he has so much rental income to where he could be 100% focused art teacher, stay as long, do weekends, do after school programs. And I took something away from that, because I'm like, you don't have to quit your job. I'm not telling anybody, funding the clothes, not telling anybody quit their job, but you have to have some other type of income to fill that gap so you can live free. Money doesn't create happiness. Money is a tool, and the tool utilize that to get environments, and environments create happiness. So if I make enough money, it allows me to separate myself from environments I don't like and put me in environments where it actually makes me comfortable.
For sure.
Those comfortable environments create happiness. So we have to use money and use that tool to help do different types of things. But one other thing I want to just make clear, being a publicist, getting into PR, and starting, women's fund, stuff like that. Do you need to have $1 million already sitting? Do you need to go ahead and have?
That's the power.
That's the part I want to make clear.
That's the power of partnerships. I think the with anything that you do, the first part is the do. How many people do we know that are sitting on an idea? Like, I have shit in my notes from 2-3 years ago that I'm just acting on. Like, let's be real, y'all. If we're gonna keep it a buck, we're gonna keep it a buck, right? Take some of that shit out your notes and put action behind it. It's not doing you any justice sitting in your notes. I think about this all the time. If you go to a gravesite, right? Think about when you're burying a loved one and you're leaving a gravesite. Think about all the people that you're walking over top of. Think about how many dreams that have been buried with those people that will never get a chance to utilize. How many products will never know that exist. How many, it's like you have to put some do behind, and it's easier said than done. But I was listening to, was it a podcast? I think it was a podcast, and they took it was like a tape measure or whatever. Like, it was like a tape measure, right? And it was like from 1 to 100, right? It was like 1 to 100, and you had to rip off the age that you were. So if it's 1 through 100,
I think I've seen this. Yeah.
So if it's like 1 through 100, if I'm 34, I'm ripping off at 34, right? Yeah. And this is the amount of time I have left.
Yeah, I've seen this.
This amount of time I have left to do what I need to do. Will you really start thinking about, like, okay, so boom. If I look at it like this, if I'm 34 years old, right? If the average life expectancy is 85, let's say 85.
Shoot, 70.
Let's say 70. All right, now give me 10 more years, Derek. Damn. 10 more years. That's 85.
I'm saying. They don't have that much time.
All right, 85. I'm going to say 85. He said 75. Give me the extra 10. Okay. So let's just say 85. If I'm 34, that means I may have 35 more birthdays left. I may have 35 more birthdays left.
35 summers.
When you start looking at life from that lens, the fact that I only got 30 more times to try this out. I only got 25 more times to figure this shit out. When are you going to put some urgency behind what are you doing? You have to live in a state of urgency. Success loves speed. There's nothing slow about it. Stop comparing yourself to other people, because comparison is the thief of joy. And just do it. I had my women's event in March. We gave away $50,000 in partnership with 4 Essentials. And partnerships are key, because the same way that you have the vision, somebody else might have the vision as well, right? Or they may not have the vision until you bring it to them, right? Yeah. But comparison is the thief of joy. Whatever it is that you want to do, make 2024 and beyond your Just Do It season. We got a couple months left in this year. Like, it has to be the Just Do It season. And it has to be a season where you challenge yourself. Stop surrounding yourself with people and things that no longer serve you. It's okay to not be accessible to people. It's okay not to be around certain crowds. It's okay to be quote unquote corny, because you don't have the time or the whatever to just be accessible and be out. Lock in, because 30 more times to figure this shit out is not a lot of time.
It's not.
That's it.
It's not.
When you really start looking at it like that, that shit get real scary.
It's not. It's really not. I'm really glad you said. First, I would say the drink is keeping up.
Sure, I'm all right.
she started
right.
preaching.
You can give me a refill. Okay.
But no, seriously though, like, you really don't have a lot of time, and I want people to really think about that and really understand that. And it's not to scare anybody, but you really don't have a lot of time. Like, you have to figure this thing out. And also, not even think about, let's say you have 70 years, right? Let's just throw that number out there. 80. So you got 85 years. So I got 85 times to go ahead and go around this world, or 85 times to figure things out. You got to think about it, from 0 to 20, 21. It's just life. You just growing.
Shit, 0 to 30.
0 to 30. That's 0 to 30, right? So I like to say 0 to 21 because at 18 I started trying to figure things. I'm 30 now, so our last 7 years, that's on the conversation. Okay. That's just me. But so let's say that's already chalked. You just growing up.
What's chalk mean? People might not know that.
Chalk, that's just like it's going in the wind. Okay. It's going. So then you got 30 to 85 to really figure. Then you think about, it's not a lot of time. Then you sleep in 8 hours a day.
It's not a practice run.
Have a lot of time.
This is not practice. This is not practice. And I want to say this too before we wrap up. You guys, I don't know what camera I'm looking in. This one. I'm gonna look in one of these cameras, especially for people that look like me, right? Get some fucking life insurance. Get some insurance. $20 a month, $30 a month. You spend it on DoorDash. You spent that at the nail shop. You spent that on your pre-rolls. You spent that on your backwoods. You spent it on the bottle. It's no reason why we're dying and we got to do a fish fry. We got to do a GoFundMe. I am so confused.
And they're not even doing $10 fish fries no more.
It's not even $10 no more. So by the time I pay for a platter, that was a month.
$25. Y'all put a little teriyaki sauce on top of the fish. That was $35. Y'all put the parsley flakes.
My shit $38.50 for a platter.
I should have went to Steak 48 for all that.
At that point, did a little root Chris. It's crazy.
Shit is crazy.
So yeah, so I definitely, and that's another thing too, because that's a whole nother. I have to come back because we have. It's like
Can you do a part 2.
We got to do a part 2 because it's too much to cram in one episode. But I just feel like the insurance stuff is important because I know a lot of times now we're talking about insurance policies. People are now starting to learn about IULs and things like that.
It's freaking $20 to $40 to $60 a month.
My policy, it depends. Like
no, I'm talking about just to have something for the death. I'm not talking about investing. I'm talking about just so your funeral is covered is $20, $30
a month. A month minimum. And I think that too, when you're getting these insurance policies, understand your policy. Is it whole? Is it term? Is it an IUL policy? But when you're getting an IUL policy, everybody's like, well, what's the best company? And It's not about the best company. It's about your agent. It's about how the policy is written up. It doesn't matter the company. It's about the agent. So that's important as well. But when you're getting those policies, you want to look at the cash value of the policy as well. Yeah. So that's a whole nother episode. We're going to come back and Derek's going to make me another drink and I'll be back. But I appreciate you for having me.
Wait. We gotta. This the one thing I want to do. Make sure we touch on because I promised them that. So the whole point of this whole thing.
Not on camera. No, never mind.
No. I mean, maybe.
That's product placement. That's a little product placement. We can take. Yo, Cam, we got you in here. We got.
I mean, shoot, you bust it down real quick. All right, bust it down. So when I want to spend the next 5,
Okay.
Spend the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Derek, what is going on? Like what?
Jeez.
Do you see this, right? He talked all that shit about me, right? I just want him to understand.
She's supposed to finish 1 cup. She's trying to get 3, 4 in the daggone thing. Wow.
Wow, I need a refill. Okay.
All right, bro. You help her get her a refill, please.
Can we pause this real quick? Can we just pause?
No, keep it live.
Oh, keep it running.
Keep it live.
Yeah, just the ice.
No.
Nah, the tequila.
Yeah.
Yep.
So look, in the meantime, with that one, I'm gonna stick with my one. I'm cool.
Come on now, let's figure this out.
I'm cool right here. It's
wow.
Long game. Like just chill. Just take your time. So look. I want to spend this next 5-10 minutes. But we talked about how you can make money being a PR. We talk about how getting money for other individuals, for Black Women's Fund. We talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. Let's talk about the other side of it that's off Instagram. And I said that in the beginning, once that drink kick in, because it's kicking in. How many fingers I got up?
75.
Yeah, it's kicking in. All right, so real quick, y'all. My guy Kev with Taste Cheesesteak. He came and dropped us off 2 salmon cheesesteaks. So make sure you guys go check out Taste Cheesesteak. That's my guy, but not only because that's one of my friends I consider a brother. This food is amazing. Best salmon cheesesteak I've ever had in my life. But let's get back to this. this part of the
Product
episode.
placement. Now he's learning about PR. Shout out to Kev.
Yeah, I'm PR now.
Now he's a publicist because we're doing free product placement.
I'm still not famous enough yet, but
My bad.
So in this part of the episode, what I wanted to get into is I want you to tell me all the crazy stuff you've done. You made money in PR. You made money doing serial entrepreneur. What's some of the things you've done with your money? Because I don't believe in. I'm not the guy that's going to sit here and say, like, so when people, younger than me come to me, my little cousins or friends, whatever, like, yo, man,
I'm about to bite this cheese stick. There's no way.
Go ahead.
No. I'm just letting you know.
I'm not the guy. Cause I'm taking my bite. I'm not the guy that's going to go ahead and say, yo, don't spend your money. Don't do nothing that. Like, some people out there like, yo, don't spend nothing, reinvest everything. No, I feel like you need to take some time and have some fun with yourself. Right. So what I want you to do but it has to be responsible. Exactly. The investments are paying for the dumb stuff. The investments are paying for the liabilities.
For sure.
So what are some of the things you have done? What's some wild stories? What's some crazy stuff you've done with your investments, with your money that you made from PR, from properties, from this business that you've done and, you have fun with?
You gotta fuck my money up on? That's what you want to know?
What you fuck your money up on, basically?
Oh, my God.
I'm not an onions and peppers guy.
I am a Chanel connoisseur.
Okay.
Sick.
Okay.
Like, that's like my thing. So I spend a lot of money on bags.
Okay.
A lot of purses. I think
would they say that's an investment?
I will say it's an investment for sure because I have a daughter.
That's how y'all spend it.
But no, seriously, because when you look at the average value of like a Hermes bag or X, Y, and Z, it is an investment. But like this jacket was $2,800.
Mm-hmm.
But when I told you this jacket. So before we started filming this episode, I told him, I said, this jacket that I had when you guys are 6 years old, I couldn't fit it. I just got back into this jacket from 7 years ago. And Gucci had launched this time capsule collection. Mm-hmm. And I paid $2,800 for this jacket. This is before I was a mom. I would never pay $2,800 for this jacket. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I would never do nothing like that. I would get something similar, but I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Now, bags, it's just Chanel. Like, it's just such a classic bag.
Can y'all really resell those?
Yeah, you can resell them. Like in 2019, a classic jumbo flap Chanel bag was like $8,500. Mm-hmm. That same bag today is like $12K.
Yeah, so it's a little investment, I guess.
I'm not paying $12,000 for a bag. Not today. I'm a mom.
Okay.
Now I'm going to the auction. I could get a property for $12K.
Yeah.
I
bought a lot for $12,000.
That's what I'm saying.
I bought a lot for $10,000.
That property that I was telling you that I'm currently like going to court for, mm-hmm. I paid $8,500 for that property with me doing nothing to it. Mm. It already has like $40,000 worth of equity that I can already pull out the home. That's with me doing nothing to it.
Okay. So your girlfriends are like, man, this guy wants to spend some money on me. Do you advise them?
Absolutely.
Get the property or?
No, let him spend his money.
No, but do you advise, like, tell him to spend the money on the property or spend the money on the bag?
I feel like as the woman, it's going to be your mentality to figure out what you want to do. So he might not necessarily invest the money in the property, but if you know, okay, first of all, if you're dealing with this is a whole nother conversation because if you're dealing with somebody and he feels the need, Derek, we're on the camera.
Yo, because it was the sit up for me. Go ahead.
No, because I feel like if you're dealing with somebody and he fucks with you enough to invest in you, what you do with those funds is based off of your mentality, mm-hmm. not based off of his. Yeah. So if somebody is going to invest $10,000 or whatever, however much he's going to give you, that's your mentality. Right. If you want to go fuck it off on the bag, then go ahead and do that. Right. But I wouldn't advise that. I would advise something that would make me money. I'm all about making money. So long term, why would I waste $10,000 when I can spend $5 at an auction? You know what I mean? 10 at an auction. I could potentially get 2 properties that might already have equity in them because these are tax sales. These are not brand new properties. These are houses that people have either foreclosed on, they didn't pay their mortgage, or they're tax delinquent, whatever the situation may be for that property. Yeah. It's like, I know it got some type of equity in it. So it's like, I pay $5 for it, but if I have 30 already in it, why would I go buy a bag?
My mom friend, she got a house for $200-something thousand, and I think she paid like 20 or 30 grand for it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It was so crazy. It had all the stuff, the TV. The house had stuff in it.
That's crazy. They were just over. They just said, "Fuck it, I ain't paying my bills."
The house had. It's so crazy, right? She got this house when I was in high school. They had dirt bikes in the house. My mom's friend, she called me. She says, "Dirt bikes, and you want one?" I went up there and got a dirt bike.
It's crazy, and I would advise people to also start investing in land. Just start buying some land. I don't even
want to get into that. That's a whole nother. That's a
whole nother episode.
I'm gonna give him some.
I just want to say because for me, land is something that's the one thing they're not making any more of. They're not making any more of it, and it's a surplus of it. So if you can find a good area where you can get land for cheap, I would advise you to start buying some land. My whole thing is if you want to spend $500 out to dinner, you could get a lot of land for $500 somewhere. So it's just about investing your money properly.
I'm gonna give them something else. So right.
Was it good?
Well, a lot of people don't know.
Is it good?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay. You look like you need a refill too.
You already still full.
No, this is a second cup. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. You didn't even drink that.
This is a second cup, and half of it is tequila. This much juice.
You bragging or complaining?
I'm bragging and complaining at the same time.
Listen, let me go ahead and tell them about this.
Okay, I'm listening.
So look, a lot of times people selling land cheaper than what it's worth because they don't understand what it's worth. So, for example, I bought a lot for $10,000 was really worth $90,000. The guy was like, "Look, it's just a piece of grass. I just want to get rid of it." I bought it for $10,000. It was worth $90,000. But what a lot of people don't know is you can use real estate. Land as real estate.
Yes.
As collateral for other things. So I had a property I was buying. Was it this one? I think it was this one.
That was a light flex. Did y'all heard what he said, right? Was it this one that we're in?
Yo, it was this one we in. This building that we in, I utilized my land as collateral to cover the down payment.
He got land and buildings. That's what he telling y'all.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. So I utilized the collateral. So I said, look, listen, y'all can put a lien on my land to cover my down payment for this. And then when I finished everything, they took the lien off. So I'm saying all to say is the down payment for this was $60,000. I used a $10,000 land because when they evaluated, it was worth $90,000. So sometimes you guys can buy land that's cheap, but it's worth a whole lot more and utilize that as collateral to cover payments, cover other things. So getting in the land game is good because 9 times out of 10, people don't even know how much that stuff is worth. No. They like, yo, just give me $1,000, give me $2,000 for that little patch of grass. Whole time that patch of grass is worth $100,000. Whole time that patch of grass is worth $50,000. I got a bunch of lots just around. I just picked up. I got some lots I pay 80 for, some lots I pay 10 for, some lots I pay 30 for. Like literally just cash, just buying them because I know eventually. Now that's a game that everybody can't play. I understand that, but if you get something for $500, you get something for $1,000, you get something for $2,000. Like we going
just sit, just let it sit.
You spending more on other stuff anyway.
On DoorDash.
Come on, let's get on that.
Spending more on DoorDash.
Let's get on that.
And also look when you're purchasing land. Look at the areas that are being developed around you as well. Like, you know what I mean? So like, if it's a big ass lot of land, but 3-4 miles down the road, it's a whole development. You never know. They might want to come buy the land from you. So that's a whole nother play. So,
but I do want to say I appreciate you for being on here. This was a great conversation. I learned because I know now, but before this, I didn't even know. I heard of PR, but I didn't know what PR was. I like the fact that you explain that. I like the fact that people can get involved in that, even with not having, a whole bunch of degrees, a whole bunch of money to get started. I like the fact that people can get a piece of the equity. Like I want 10% of the deal and not just a retainer. I like the fact that it can build. I like the fact they can build relationships. I like the whole idea of it. So someone in here watching this can like, yo, listen, I want to get into publicists. I want to get in public relations. I want to help someone else brand build. Other reason why I like it is because you don't have to have the face to do it.
For sure.
You can be behind the scenes. So for someone in here that's like a behind the scenes person, they can go ahead and stay being behind the scenes, but help someone else blow up. There's a lot of people like that. I just want to make money behind the scenes.
Literally.
And I want to help someone else vision grow. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you're getting paid off of that. Like you said, you was connecting the dots. I wasn't getting paid off it. Now you're getting paid off it. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for
having me. Make sure you guys stay connected. Derek had me on as his first guest.
Yeah.
I feel special because it was hired at number 1, right?
Here we go.
And he had on the fancy Dickie. today.
She called it a fancy dicky.
He had on his fancy dicky today.
Fancy dicky.
He had on a fancy dicky today with me on the episode. So I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. And I look forward to connecting with you guys. And just always just keep this in mind.
Drop the handle again.
I always want to leave. Huh?
The Instagram handle again. Drop
Ms. Media. So MZ Media _Queen on Instagram. Make sure you guys connect with me. I do answer DMs. I'm responsive. Make sure you guys connect with me on social media. And I look forward to connecting with everybody. But also, I also want to leave people with this. Always when I do like a speaking engagement or anything I do, always understand that your current view is not your final destination. Understand that, right? So your current view is not your final destination, right? And it doesn't hurt me to scoot over if I already have a seat at the table. And that's something that's very important to me because you can't do what I do. My seat is already solidified. But it doesn't hurt me to scoot over if I already have a seat at the table. So
that's some facts. So
make sure you guys tap in. We're funded and closed. Derek can keep update on everything that they're doing. And we'll tap in soon.
Appreciate it. Let's get it.